Also, of course, there's been a lot of international agreements and international meetings to try to limit emissions. And the reason why they're international is because it's really not fair if one country tries to make improvements on how they do things. It's going to cost money and it's going to cost time. And so if everybody's agreeing that they all have to limit carbon dioxide, then economically it would be fair. So there was this Kyoto Protocol in Kyoto, Japan, where international bodies agreed that there's a problem with climate change and that everybody needs to limit their carbon dioxide emissions to a certain percentage by a certain time. But the United States, although they went and everything, they did not ratify. They brought it back home, but the Congress did not sign it. They didn't pass it. So we're not a full partner in the Kyoto Protocol. Russia did sign, and there's lots of reasons why, because for one, they were even less efficient than they are now, and if they had to drop their carbon dioxide emissions by a certain percentage, they've already basically done that. So for them it was okay to sign on. It's not going to be as much of an economic problem as it is for the U.S. So it's a very, very complicated situation. Smaller countries, of course, are going to sign on. They don't have as much influence in the world. They don't have as much carbon dioxide emissions. They rely more on buying things from other big companies or countries. So it's a really interesting, complicated problem that's not yet been solved, although there's meetings going on all the time. There was the Copenhagen meeting that followed up the Kyoto meeting, and there's going to be a meeting here in December in Cancun. They just keep coming together, trying to agree on how to work it out so it's fair for all the countries to limit their carbon dioxide emissions. But this is part of the problem. The reason why the U.S. wouldn't sign on is because in 1995, you can see the United States and the developed world, all the developed world, the blue, were the dominated the carbon dioxide emissions. But down here, if you fast forward 40 years, the developing world is going to catch up quite a bit to the industrialized and high energy societies of the developed worlds. So the U.S. is not going to always be the biggest contributor of carbon dioxide emissions. So the thing is, with the Kyoto Protocol, the caps and the on carbon dioxide emissions were placed on the developed world, but not the developing world, because the developing world says it's not fair. They can't feed their people. They can't grow their economies if they have to follow the same stringent pollution guidelines as the developed world. So they were left off of it out of fairness. But the United States said, but they're going to catch up, and they're going to be producing more. For example, China will be producing more carbon dioxide than the USA by 2035. So it's really not fair. They'll never be able to compete with China economically if we have rules that they don't have. So it's a very, very complicated situation, and people are trying hard to work it out so that it's fair for all the partners in the world, that everybody can continue to grow their economies and have strong defense and healthy people and all that kind of stuff, and at the same time protect the world from too much carbon dioxide emissions.